Hello, kindergarten. This is your friendly neighborhood art teacher, and I gave some of you a clue the last time I saw you that our next project was messy, involved dirt, and had something that included growing. So some of you were taking some guesses, but I told you I wasn't going to let you in on the secret yet. Well, today is the day. We are going to talk about clay. Now, the next time you guys come in, you're going to start this project. But the first question is, why do I have a dry erase board? Well, that's because clay is a very special thing that we haven't used before, especially in kindergarten. So what happens is clay is a special kind of mud. So you can't just go out and get any kind of mud. You have to know what you're looking for. So in the mountains, let's make those my mountains. They're pretty ugly mountains, but you get the idea. In the mountains, eventually there happens to be a rainstorm. So all of this water comes down, and that little bit of rain will wash out lots of little bits of dirt. So some of those pieces of dirt are so small that they're smaller than sand. That's what we call silt. So silt will run in the river will wash it away, and that river will bring it all the way down the mountains until it hits a lake. And lakes are really nice pieces of water, and a lake is usually very still. The water runs really fast in a river, but in a lake, it all slows down to a crawl, and it kind of almost goes to sleep. Well, those little bits of silt, that little teeny weeny pieces of dirt, they're actually heavier than water. So what happens is as soon as they stop moving, they start to sink. And they'll sink all the way to the bottom of the lake because they're heavier than the water. And they form a thick layer of something called clay, which is a very thick, slippery type of mud. So that thick, slippery type of mud lays on the bottom of the lake for a long time. Most of the time, and sometimes what happens, is the river might change direction, it might go somewhere else, or the lake might get drained off by accident or something happens. But usually the water has dried up, and sometimes there's a layer of dirt on top, maybe with some grass, and somebody knows or somebody discovers that there used to be a lake there. So what they'll do is they'll dig into that dirt on the top and get rid of it, and they'll dig down to the clay layer, and then they'll start digging the clay out. So they take that out and they send it to a special place where they clean it. So they actually will take the sticks out and the rocks and anything that doesn't belong there and make it so it's just the silt and just the clay. So what we have for clay is right here. So this actually used to live on the bottom of a lake. This used to be a thick layer of mud at the bottom of a lake. Now, right now, it's in our classroom. So we bought that bag of clean clay and brought it to our class, and now you get to use it. So what's very special about this mud is that when you bake it, or fire it as it's called, when we fire it, it actually turns to stone. So we will fire this at almost 2,000 degrees. That's 500 plus 500 plus 500 plus 500, which is what your oven at home will do. So 4 times what your oven will do at home. It's a really powerful oven. Our kiln, which is what that oven is called, will fire the clay and turn it to stone. So you can actually, after it's fired, you can use it for drinking or eating, or for what we're going to do, we're going to grow flowers in your classrooms. So we're actually going to make a pinch pot, which is a bowl, to create something that you're going to grow a flower in. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get this into a round shape to help you out. So you can either tap tap to the corners to get them round, or you can smack smack onto the table. I'm just trying to get all of the corners rounded off and get those popped back in. Or you can roll it on your table with 2 hands. Now mine's a pretty big piece because I didn't measure it out. Yours will be just a little bit smaller. But you can smack smack with your hands, whatever you have to do, but you're going to get it as round as you can. And then you're going to put it on your table or onto your placemat or your tray, whatever comes first. And you're going to take your hole puncher, also known as your thumb, and you're going to take it and you're going to push, 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 push until you're almost at the bottom. We don't want a donut, we want a bowl. So notice I didn't go the whole way through. I only went until there was about that much clay between the bottom of my hole and the bottom of where my pot is. I don't want to go the whole way through. If you do, let me know, and I will come around and help you. So then you're going to take your pinchers, and you're going to take and you're going to push it into those holes, and you're going to pinch. Now I start at the bottom, and I pinch around the bottom first. So I'm going to pinch, pinch, pinch. And if you pinch at the bottom, what it does is it chases the clay up the wall. So I'm going to pinch it, pinch it, pinch it, pinch it. Keep going, turning it, pinch and turn, pinch and turn. Now I'm doing this sideways. You'll probably do it like this, but I want the camera to see. So when I get up that far, I'm going to go up a little bit, and I'm going to pinch a little higher. And I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to turn it and pinch, turn and pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch, turn, pinch. Now you're going to see that hole got a lot bigger on the top. And I'm going to come around as the teacher, and I'm going to get the clay out of your corners. So what that means is I'm going to take my thumb, and I'm going to push into the corner. And what that does is it gets rid of those really thick corners that might accidentally blow up your pot. Because if there's too much water or it's too thick, sometimes it can explode. And we don't want it to explode and turn into confetti in the kiln, because that is no fun. So once I get that there, I'm going to take a look, and I'm going to make sure I pinch up and make it a nice tall pot, because I want it to fit a flower in it. I don't want it to be too small, and it will shrink a little bit, so I got to make it a little bit bigger. But do you notice it's starting to crack? That happens when you stretch clay a little bit. So you can either take it, if it's a big crack, you can take it and push it together, or pinch it, or mush it, whatever you've got to do to make that work. Or if it's little teeny cracks, you can take your finger and you can smooth them out and make them look nice and pretty. But whatever it looks like going in, that's what it's going to look like coming out. So make sure that you have all the lumps and bumps out that you want. And you only have one class to do it, so don't waste too much time. We're going to do this all next class, so you won't do it this class so that you have the whole time to work. We're going to give you all the instructions today, and then we're going to let you do all the work next time so that you have the whole class to work. So I'm going to make mine nice and pretty. Now I'm not going to keep mine. I'm going to mush it up again so I can show somebody else how to do this. But you're going to make it nice and pretty, or as pretty as you can make it. Now you can see I have some scratches there, so I can take my finger and mush it around, make it look nice and pretty. And then once I'm all done, the teacher is going to hand me a paper towel with a piece of tape on it. I'm going to take a marker, and I'm going to write my name and my class code on that piece of tape. And I might need some help with this, so it's okay to ask the teacher for some help if you need it. I'm going to pick it up, put it on the paper towel, and then this whole thing will go back to the counter. You can probably carry it on the tray that I'm going to give you. Put it on your tray, and you can carry it back to the counter. And then once it's on the back counter, we're going to let it dry a little bit. And then once it's dry, the teacher is going to flip it over and carve your name in the back, so that when it comes out of the kiln, we'll be able to see who it belongs to. Because if I don't do that, then we're not going to know, because they're all going to look the same way. Just like we put our names on our papers, we want to put our names on our pots. So once that's done, we're going to have a flip-flop project. So we'll work on something else next time until I get a chance to bake all of them at once, because they've got to dry for a little while. And then once they're dry and they get baked, then the next step is to glaze. So we'll talk about that a little bit in the future, but for now, let's have some fun with some dirt.